And we're live.
And we are live. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. My name is Chad. We're here with April and Dawn. And I think we're just going to both kind of do some quick intros. So take it away.
Okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm April, and this is Dawn
Hello.
of the Carnivore Christians.
Yep.
And we have been on a weight loss journey. I've been on it for a couple of years now. She just started in June.
Well, officially started in June, but a weight loss journey for years.
For our whole lives.
Pretty
really,
much, yes.
Honestly. But this recent sprint just started in June. So we just have our YouTube channel chronicling our journey, and we are Christians, and that's who we are.
Yeah. Awesome. So now how long exactly have you both been doing everything then?
I've been doing carnivore pretty consistently since January of 2021. 2022, something like that. It's been
2021.
over a year and a half, but I kind of got off of it and then got back on it. But I got an autoimmune disease in 2019. I don't know which one, but it acts like rheumatoid and it swells me up really bad in my joints. And I tried the autoimmune protocol. I went to go get help from the medical doctors and no one could help. So I just found Carnivore, found Dr. Barry and started it. And within 2 weeks I could walk again and everything was great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
She actually went to Scotland inflamed and swollen and couldn't walk very well.
My hiking trip was ruined.
To Scotland.
Not so hiking.
No, not at all. Still fun though.
Well, and then for me, my life has been, we tried keto for years ago.
Keto Atkins. Yeah.
But officially I launched in June of this year. Officially.
Official.
Intentionally.
Yes.
Let me change the word. And I intentionally began in June.
The conscious choice
was nice.
Made. Yes.
Yeah, because I know I found it through a friend. Basically, I lived on Maui most of my life, like from my 20s through 40s. I taught scuba, so I was always this like lean in shape, scuba guy. And I had an issue with my lungs from the sulfur dioxide in the air, the volcanic gases. So I moved to the mainland when I was 43. And I'd started being a photographer because I got married and you can't really make a living as a dive instructor. And I'd always done photography. And it's actually one of the reasons I got into diving was to do underwater photography. So when I moved here, it just started catching up. And for an idea, I'm like 5'11", and I was always 178 pounds all the time when I was teaching. And when I moved here, I got to this point where I was at 275, and I just quit looking at the scale. So I don't know what I went past that. And one of my other photographer friends basically was like me, and he ended up being, the same size, everything else. And he found keto and started in the whole keto thing. And basically I started keto in 2019. So 4.5 years ago, and did it for a year, but it didn't really work for me because I think there was too many substitutes. I could still have teriyaki chicken. I could still have keto barbecue sauce. What I mean? I could still have keto nachos and keto, man, the keto. And I think it was when I was sitting eating these keto chocolate chip bar cookies thinking, this just can't be. Something's wrong with this. It's not right. And then luckily he found Carnivore and told me about it. And it was like 1 month. I kind of didn't move for that first month, even coming off keto. And then it started moving. And then it was like, wow. So that's kind of how I did it. And I'm basically back to 178 pounds. What I was.
Good job.
Yeah. So it's pretty wild that I got back to that size in my 20s and 30s. And it took a year and I kind of hit that plateau. Now, right now I'm about 181, 182 because I'm eating cheese again for my no gallbladder situation. And every time I eat cheese, it's just like 4 pounds goes on like that. And it stays on. But I think it's all water retention. I really do.
It's an inflammatory response. Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about it. I really don't care about the extra you know what I mean? 4 pounds. It's like the cheese does what it does. I get a little more inflammatory response, but I'm kind of balancing that. And I think there's a lot of that pro con. You know, it's even people that do want to have a treat or something going on.
But why does
so that's kind of my story.
Why do you have an inflammatory response to cheese? How does that work?
A lot of people do. And I've heard, I'm eating only Parmesan. For the last 2 years, I've tried almost every different kind of cheese, and I do it for 3 months. I literally was testing each one for 3 months. Then I would go off and totally clean up and then test another. So I did like soft cheeses that were the worst for me. The A2 dairy, if you're familiar with the A2. Yeah. And so I did A2, which is like a different, what is it? The casein and whatever the other lactose in there is like a different, I can't remember exactly how it works. Yeah. And so Parmesan has to be A2. And for actual Italian Parmesan, it has to be raw. So it's not a pasteurized thing. And so even like when I tried goat cheese, I had more response. And then when I tried just aged cheeses and I tried a few different ones, it was like, okay, these are working better. And they narrowed it down to this Gruyere, I think is how you pronounce it correctly. And the Parmesan, and they were both raw and both A2. And then I did just the Gruyere and I noticed a little more response than I did the Parmesan. And I noticed the least response. And because I'm buying like really good aged Parmesan, it's kind of hard to eat too much of it because it just gets kind of dry and heavy. So it's working, you know, that way. So and I think it's just the casein and a lot of people just have issues with dairy. You'll find gaining, you know, with it and stuff.
Especially as you get older. Dairy
messes with me, but I use heavy cream and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, heavy cream and butter don't.
Oh, it's
with me.
The Oregon, Keto of Oregon.
Hey.
Hey. Fun to see people now here.
Yeah.
So I think
that's a great.
I'm just going to glance through this. And Mike's here. Hello. I recognize some of the names, so that's always fun.
They are intolerant. That's for sure.
Yeah. Then I'll click on our little thing here. So I think for some of the people too in the comments, we're going to be posting up like a little banner thing across the bottom, and we want you guys to get kind of involved and you know, answer some question with us. Which cheese could be?
Dr. AJ.
Hey, Dr. AJ.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, very interesting guy.
Yeah. See, I'm going to kick this up. Right. So again, anybody in the chat too, it's just kind of an open, you know, my thing on this is I weighed myself. I don't know what you guys are doing. I weighed myself every day for the last 3.5 years.
Every day?
I've literally
I might too,
every day, and sometimes twice a day, because I'm really curious when I go, man, like I just put down like 3.5 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then I want to see what happens that night. And then I don't know. But I also know to let it go. I'm just curious of what happens. And I think it's fine to weigh yourself if you can let it go and not get upset, because man, sometimes I would be like up 8 pounds in like 2 or 3 days. And then I'd go way back down. So I think some of the people do say, you know, pick a time, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, whatever, write it down in the calendar and you'll see those losses. Now, about 1 week ago, my scale finally broke. And I don't, you know, just it's an electronic thing. So I got another one that was like $17 off Amazon, and it has an app and it tracks it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So, and I think that would be a good thing for people. Just don't even look at it. Turn the tracking on, get on the scale, and then look at the trend over time. That could be interesting, I think. And I think that would be fun. And at like under $20 from Amazon, you can get these new ones with apps that are fancy. So
Oh, you
I
do?
found to let it go, but I would tell people don't worry about the scale too much. Maybe do it once a month. I think it's more important. And what blew me away was how my clothes fit and how I felt.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's my big thing. So what do you two think of that?
Yeah, same here.
The
We
weighing
hate the
yourselves.
scale. We hate the scale. It's been our enemy
Mm-hmm.
for many, many years. It never plays nice. You know, like I can, well, I won't go there, but I've weighed myself before and after depositing, and sometimes it's higher. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And
Yeah.
as much as I try to say, okay, it's just a number, it does stress me out. So we tend to weigh about every 6 weeks, just really for our audience to see if we made any progress. And I haven't made progress in over a year now. Even though I'm doing the same things, my body is just like, no. So I'm okay with that. I'm not stressing about it. I am slowly losing inches. It's just not as quick as it was in the beginning. So
Well, and I tend to, and I've really been thinking about this, like I prefer to weigh or measure. I want to have a longer window to see more
Mm-hmm.
results instead of weighing or measuring. I do weigh about 4 times a week because where I work, the lady has a scale. I don't have a scale. And April might bring hers over, and we had changed it to stone.
yeah, to read
because it just
stone.
was,
That's funny.
So it wouldn't wig us out,
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
now we do math, and it just, the emotional connection wasn't there.
So I do weigh, and but I'm not discouraged when I weigh. I just go step on this lady's scale, look at it, and there have been so many times where it's went up. However, when I weigh here for our weigh-in and measure, it's down. So I guess I just weigh just to have the number, just to see if her scale is going down. But I don't let it discourage me either. I cannot I can't let that discourage me. Because like you had just said, to your point about your clothing fitting, that's one of the first things I noticed, that in our first weigh-in, we'll call it a weigh-in, measuring and weigh-in session, yes. I had lost like around 10 inches from neck down, and I could tell, I knew it. I could tell my clothes just fit way better. Yeah. Body reshaping.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my pounds have been so slow coming off. We've done our second weigh-in since I guess we started.
Right.
And maybe my total is maybe around 8 pounds. Something like that, really low. But the inches, I'm at around 20, 21 inches lost since June.
That's a lot.
I can't argue with that. Yeah. I mean, that just,
that's and me. 21, right? You said 21. 21.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
that's
from
awesome.
neck to calf.
Yeah, right. Like measurements overall. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I figured, not like, look at my head shrank 21 inches.
My hair also. It depends on how big how big my hair is, how the weather is.
That's true.
I actually just looked up the weigh scale. I know that's one of the electronic ones then, because that's kind of like the one that I picked up, something like that. But
it does the muscle and lean tissue.
Oh, that'd be cool.
All those measurements.
Yeah, I know the one that I've got, like I said, for like 17. I mean, I don't know how accurate it is. The BMI and a index and muscle and weight. It does like. But again, for $17, if I'd known they were that cheap, I might have done it earlier to have all that data to see a trend line. And I know we're going to start doing a thing, 3 of us, Breaking Thin, Dave Mack and I, Chuck from Breaking Thin, are going to do this thing about starting to work out and putting on muscle, the 3 of us. We kind of want to make it a thing that we're going to be announcing soon. And I'm really curious now that I do have this scale, how that'll come down over a year long. Because to me, that's going to be like a 1 year long thing we're doing.
Oh,
we're
cool.
not doing like a short thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
See, and I think that's the thing, the Google Calendar. I think if people write it down, I've heard a lot of people say that, just write it down in the calendar when you're doing that.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
That is the enemy. No one likes scales is the next.
That is my daughter. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I figured no. And that and the other one, I kind of figured that from the...
No one likes scales.
Well, but we talked about
I can
this.
understand what she's saying about that.
Yeah.
We
That's
did. We
funny.
talked about the number, the psychology behind not wanting to look at the number.
Right.
You know, just,
attach your identity to it.
I really did. I know I did.
And it's too much.
It's
and it
just,
doesn't feel good.
yeah, it's morbidly obese.
Yeah.
It's super morbidly obese in the medical world. And then you see the number. Oh, I just couldn't stand it. But these days I have made peace with it because it will come down. It
Yeah,
will be
it
more
will.
friendly
It will.
because of my choices, though, you know, my lifestyle change. So no problem.
Yeah.
Hi, Bonnie. Thanks for commenting.
Yes. Thank you, Bonnie. And thank you, Bree.
Yes.
I don't know that one.
I thought it was Eli.
No.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah. Click on this next one here. Move on from that. So this is one I know you guys must want to talk about. So go for it.
Yeah. We deal with this a lot. You know, when you're trying something and it just, you know, isn't working the way you want it to, it is discouraging. But, you know, my focus has shifted recently from I gotta lose weight, I gotta lose weight, I gotta lose weight to I just want to be as healthy as I can possibly be. And hopefully that will translate into me slimming down over time. But, you know, I'm lifting heavy things at the gym. I'm eating all the meats. You know, I do stray from the perfect carnivore path here and there, but not very much really.
Mhm.
And, you know, I've just been taking sort of a break from pushing. How nice.
I think
And
I'm gonna click this out. I don't think that's
yeah, it was
I'm saying
unkind.
goodbye to that one.
Very unkind.
I meant to click the other thing to get it hidden.
Oh,
It's like, you know, it's just that's this
There's no hate.
silly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And see, that's another thing about the whole carnivore label. You know, to me, and perhaps I'm wrong, but I think 95% or better of meat, and that's all you're eating, meat, water. I think that's pretty darn carnivore. So I'm okay with calling that carnivore, and that's what I am basically.
Yeah.
I have not noticed that. Toning muscles. I wish. How would I even see them though at this point? You know,
Oh, well,
I'm trying.
I have quite a bit over the years. I
Yeah.
have quite a bit. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because, you know, just, and when I lost from where I've lost, like I said, just over that north 100 pounds somewhere, I really don't have a lot of loose skin. And over the last 2.5 years being stable, it's even gotten less.
Yeah.
You know, and but everybody's different because there's some people that definitely have more and some that don't. And I know for that first year, even though they say collagen powder is worthless, I'm hedging my bets, you know. It's on sale at Costco, buy like 7 tubs.
Yeah.
And had it every day and made sure I had it on hand. And I did OMAD because I read, you know, what kind of to do to avoid that. And I kind of tackled that first year a little. I still ate too much other junk, like carnivore junk, but like too many pork rinds and things. And then I kind of got out of that.
Yeah. It's easy to do. Very convenient. That's one thing about carnivore that's difficult, sort of, is that you have to cook everything. Like there is no food. There's only ingredients to make food. And so you have to cook everything all the time. That's I would say my number one con. But I mean, with anything else, like when I was a raw vegan, I would have to do these really elaborate and multi-step recipes. It was awful. And now I just put some salt and seasoning on a steak and slap it on the grill, you know, 8-10 minutes. I'm having dinner.
Yes.
So it is fast and easy. Yeah. Hamburger meat is quick, that sort of thing. But pork rinds, if you're hungry and you just don't want to make something, that's what I'll do. I'll just eat just the plain pork rinds, salt and fried in its own lard kind of thing. And then just eat those and drink some water and they go in your stomach and then you're not hungry anymore.
Yeah. See, I always cook enough that I have leftovers. That way, if I'm truly hungry,
Yeah.
In the first year, what I did is I also had tons of hard-boiled eggs.
Yes.
Oh,
Would
sure.
always have hard-boiled eggs. And I think that kind of peeling them one by one, eating them, peeling another, slows it down just enough where you don't, over just chomp, 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 and they're all gone. And I noticed I did that, but I always found the leftovers really handy. So I literally, whatever I have, like I eat a lot of chuck steak. And so I just make sure I have leftovers. And then the leftovers are part of that next meal. So even what I cook that day always has some left over.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that way I don't have to cook. And there's sometimes like with chuck steak, I actually don't mind it cold. I
Oh,
don't
me
like
too.
ribeye cold.
Oh,
For
yeah.
some reason, I ribeye is okay, but I chuck is actually good cold for some reason, better than ribeye to me.
Chuck is more
And so the
tasty.
same thing, I'll cook like 2 or 3 chucks at one time and just chop them up, and that way they're in the fridge and I can heat them back up if I want or not,
It's a great idea.
I do
because I
that
know
with
the cooking is.
Yeah.
because to me, chicken doesn't taste weird the next day. Sometimes beef can have I don't know if it's, I don't know why. It just has a weird flavor the next day for me sometimes,
Changes
and I don't eat it, but I like to
Mhm.
eat fresh steak every day if I could, or a burger patty or ham steak, but I eat all different kinds of meat.
Yeah.
Also, I don't just do beef and salt. For me, I'm trying to experiment and just see what I like and what my body will actually tolerate, and want to eat bacon.
You're still in the learning, I think,
I
figuring
am a
it all out
baby.
stage too.
Yes.
So what is, like, both of yours, say, average day of eating? Like how many times a day and
Oh,
what are you eating?
sometimes I can eat sometimes just once a day. And I should probably have maybe an egg or something in there. I'm not saying I shouldn't, but it can be a ham steak. It's so quick to cook up, fry up on the stove, or with some eggs. Bacon, so quick, so easy, really. And I'll fry it just right there, eat it up. Other than that, I've been doing keto chow shakes, especially through a few months here in Texas. It's been unbearably hot, and I just could not put steak up to my lips. I just couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
wasn't hungry. It was, the heat was just And I did see one of the videos that you put out talking about how you noticed maybe the heat didn't totally exhaust you. I'm paraphrasing what you said, but I thought about that, and it did stall me though. The heat. I
It's
just couldn't put food to my mouth.
better tolerance. And I don't know exactly when it came in because I'm here in Phoenix. So it's,
Hot.
it's hot here. Like I said, humid places you get steamed, and here you get like
Yes.
broiled. It's still, you're getting baked. So it's
Yes.
that kind of thing. And I cook outside 99+% of my meals. Everything I cook is outside because there's no mess outside. It doesn't smell
Yep.
up the house.
Yep.
There's no grease to clean up because all that meat every day, and it's either on a grill or in pans over a stove that's outside, and that works for
Yeah,
me.
good idea. Take a pan outside and just use the grill.
Yeah, because the grease is
Yeah.
real.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's the thing. It's like cleaning up inside. When it starts spattering, then you got to, wipe down everything. And
Yes.
out there, it's
I
easy.
know.
Yeah.
All the time.
And so I'm even outside. I tend to eat once a day, but if I'm hungry,
Yeah.
I'll eat twice. And that's why I said the leftovers are handy, because if I do get hungry, the leftovers are there for that evening or the next day. But for me, like, even like this, kind of going back to this weight loss stalls, I think, and I did that video on it. I do think sometimes people can have a thyroid issue or something else, and they flat out won't move. That's, and you've got that issue. Hey, Rick, you've got that issue where there's something actually wrong, and you're going to have to probably get something to figure it out. So whatever you do won't work. And I think that's important to say first. But otherwise, for me, I would stall out and I would kind of go back and go, okay, I try to cheat myself a little bit. And that's the few times I remember stalling. I think, oh, I'll go a little bit hungry and hurry this weight loss along, say like in that month up through 6. And every time I kind of said, oh, I can cheat this a little bit, I noticed I would stall. So it's that under eating that could do it. And days I would pound down like 3 pounds of meat. Sometimes were the days that I would end up losing the most over the next 2 days. It was really strange. And I also noticed in the beginning, my levels, like I would eat, say 3 pounds and then 2 pounds, but it wasn't because I ate 3 pounds, I could only eat 2. Because sometimes I'd eat like 3 pounds for 4 days in a row. And then I'd only want a half a pound for like 5 days in a row. It was really strange, where now I'm pretty stable, with that just over 2 pounds thing. So I think the weight loss also is just moving, like physically moving sometimes, just get up and walk around the block a little bit or do something. And the other thing sometimes is, I think you have to have a set protein where like, your ideal body weight, 1 gram per pound, if you've heard that.
Oh, yes, but I've never.
And you kind of find that protein. So let's just say whatever your protein is, if you adjust the fat to kind of a higher fat or lower fat, it's not like taking away everything. Does that make sense? You're not going to take away both your protein, your fat, but if you keep that protein where you need it for the, building block, basically, I think sometimes helps it move.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has any thoughts.
I had steak the other night, just to talk about, I never say no to steak on the comment.
Yeah.
The other night I had said no to steak though for a few months. I mean, several weeks, but the other night an employer of mine cooked some beef and it was so delicious. I ate steak. I ate 2 nice fat pieces and it was delicious. And then just yesterday, having brisket from a local grocery store, has really good barbecue, really delicious brisket. Oh, 2 slices of that. 4 slices was a pound of this brisket. And it's like $22 for a pound of brisket. And oh, it was so good though. I really enjoyed it. But it's dropped like 10 degrees probably in 2 weeks. So it made a whole difference for me. And I do like steak. I don't want to say no to steak. I'm not like turning my nose away. I just couldn't eat it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't eat it.
I still could.
I know you can. I know you could.
Yeah. I was going to answer Mike. I actually live near like North Mountain, just so he knew, because he was talking about Cactus, and 51 is actually Roadrunner's not too far kind of from where I'm at in Big Huge Phoenix. So if he knows kind of the North Mountain area there near 7th and Thunderbird. Interesting. It's always, I met a guy the other day I did an interview with Sean Baker the other day, and I guess they do it for their people, the members first. And some guy like literally lives like right in North Mountain, like right near me. He's like, hey, I live in that area. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to meet other people. That's the thing. It's a great community.
Yes.
It is.
A few people say stupid stuff in the chat, and I think they're coming in to troll, but they're not the carnivores. That's for sure.
Well, I did definitely agree that people can be great, because when we went on the low carb cruise, was my first experience with so many people who were trying to be of like mind. And everybody was so different. You had very fit and very slim to very large, and then people in between who are just having a mind change and a spiritual awakening about proper human diet and how to actually eat. So it does take time, and part of the not being discouraged, even though I'm just a baby in all of this and still experimenting and doing all kinds of things, but not comparing anybody else's progress to my own.
Yeah.
I mean, my body was sick and I didn't even know it until I started to eat better and getting rid of toxic weight and inches. I did not realize. So progress is different for everyone. I have to remember that. That's what drives me. Progress is different.
And that's the thing that's important. Like, even whatever any of us say on videos, you just have to take it as like what we went through, use it as a rough guide, and then find your own path from it. But if you can go, oh, I can relate to that, I had that, then it at least gives you something in common and gives you an idea to try and see what happens, because it's all over the place. For sure. That is a tough one. So the medical symptoms improved. Now, here's one I hope we get a few people commenting on this, if they've had medical things improve. I'll start this one off really quick. I think one big one was my allergies. I had really severe allergies. Like the last time I had anaphylactic shock, kind of, that's how bad they were, was when I was 27. So we're not talking just like, oh, sniffles, and I still have them a bit, but I don't have major issues. And now if I go out and do a lot of yard work or do something, I almost can wash them off after a shower. It's like the pollen's affecting me while I'm trimming bushes or while I'm trimming palm trees. And then when I'm done, they go away and I wake up the next morning, I'm fine. Where before I would have like 4 to 5 days down, and I would usually get severe sinusitis. And then I was on this constant mix of albuterol and Cuvar-80, which is a steroidal inhalant drug.
Yes.
So I was literally on this constant sinusitis allergy thing from that. So I know that one was a huge one for me. And it's one of those weird ones where even when I was in 20s and 30s in insanely good shape, I had allergies, and now I don't. And that's what's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So
it's pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were watching one of your videos and you said your astigmatism got better. And I was like, oh, that's hope.
Well, and that's the funny thing, because like these ones, my reader part, I still need, but they're off. And my ones from like, I keep old glasses around. So if I break these, or when I go out and like do yard work, I put my old ones on so I don't scratch these up, and they're better. And I'm like, that's kind of wild. That my old ones are better. So I'm going to have to bring those in when I go in to get new glasses. And
well, we were both opticians. I was an optician for
really? Okay.
Years. Yes. And she was for a while. And when we heard in your video that your floaters and your astigmatism, I know astigmatism can change, but the floater thing, I said, whoa, never have we ever.
That's the weird thing. And
that.
The floater things, and there was a lot of comments that a lot of people had lost them too, they said. So there was actually a lot of comments where I know it was, I think, just the optometrist. I didn't talk to an ophthalmologist at that time, but I remember talking to an ophthalmologist about it a long time ago. And it was more about protein spots is what they call them. Have you heard that before? That it's like this protein.
No.
It's supposedly some kind of protein that gets loose, and it's like a chained this is what this guy was saying. And he was like, yeah, there's nothing you can really do about him.
That's what
I don't know if he just didn't know at the time, but it's weird because I used to get him and I used to always like blink and then kind of like, you could watch him go through.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're annoying. I mean, but I'm going to look at that moving forward, because I definitely have a problem with floaters, but that started in my 20s and I'm 43. So I'm going to notice that. I'm glad you did mention it. Just curious how that's going to work. Because I do notice when I have floaters, and it can be several sometimes floating.
Yeah, they're annoying. They're really annoying.
Yes.
Really, especially like if you're watching a movie, you just notice that like thing going across.
And no blinking is going to move them. No. They just move at will. I'm trying to read people's comments too, and they're really good. People,
Well, I think that's a good one on the hormone profile and or other things. And I know he also said something up above on this supports the body. Yeah. And if you can, maybe a quick kind of comment on that. I do think it's important to kind of find where your protein is for that optimum. Again, that idea of 1 gram for body weight. So for me, it might be 175 grams of protein. And even that we have to kind of play with to find, and then adjust the fat ratio from there. That's what it seems everybody says that you can kind of play with more fat from there. And I don't know what AJ thinks of that idea. I think the protein has to be always there. We can't,
Yeah.
maybe to ask him to say if he would type in, I think it's dangerous to short your protein, but you can play with the fat. And obviously everybody has their thing. We all got to find our own path.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, I tried the protein sparing modified fast for a little bit when Maria Emmerich jumped on that bandwagon, and it made me mentally unwell. And it's where you're eating protein, but you're not eating any fat. And it was very difficult. I couldn't.
You didn't eat any fat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was her bread. You make this bread out of egg white. It's like egg white fluff. That's all it is.
Okay.
And just like chicken breast and leaner cuts of beef. And so it was still carnivore, but it was low fat carnivore for just a few days. It wasn't like, do it forever.
Yeah.
But I did it for, I think, 1.5 days. And by the second day, I was like, I am irritable. I feel like I'm going crazy. Like I want to put everything in my mouth. I just want to eat everything in the house. And I was like, okay, this experiment is finished. Can't do it.
From what I would know about, like, if you've heard of that, like rabbit starvation.
Yes.
Protein poisoning.
Oh man.
But yeah, B-dog, then reverse fatty liver disease and type 2. That seems to be like stuff that people can do. And this is the great thing about it. I mean, it's just amazing what eating correctly does.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do hear that type 2 diabetes is reversed, but the fatty liver, I've also heard people have healed.
Yes.
From
a
carnivore diet.
And that intentional carnivore, Sean, who lost, he's like lost what, 260 pounds or something in a year. Obviously that was a pretty extreme. That's amazing. The tinnitus is an interesting thing because mine went away. Now, here's the funny thing. I'm going to have to do an update video. This week, it's back a little bit. But I've been eating cheese now for like 2 months. Makes me wonder if there's something in the dairy that brought it back a little bit. I can still kick it out right away. I do that weird tapping on the back of my head trick the second I notice it.
Video.
Yeah, and it works. And it's like, but I've noticed it. It's not like all the time, but I definitely notice now that all of a sudden, since I've really been going on the cheese, and I'm starting to wonder, I might have to even like say, sorry, Mr. No Gallbladder inside, I'm going to cut cheese for like, 3 weeks or something and see if it goes away. But yeah. Do you ever get that? The ringing, the tinnitus in your ears, the ringing?
Not yet.
No.
If Mike knows what that's, I don't know what his was like. It's just annoying.
I can imagine.
And animals blowing human whistles, and we're like, what? Where's that coming from?
Oh no! I would not. No,
not fun.
Yeah.
I love this carnivore's life. That is the greatest name.
That is great.
Just love that.
Yeah. Healed allergies,
but shuffling down.
Sleep apnea.
You know what? Can we talk about that really quickly? Because I did make a note if this is going to be a part of like symptoms or improved medical, that definitely has, I can say that, bloating and gas is almost just non-existent.
Yeah.
Indigestion.
And that, never indigestion.
She used to live on Tums.
I did.
Like live on them. Couldn't eat anything without needing some sort of heartburn relief, but that's gone.
Yes, it's gone. But years ago, I did start taking some type of an enzyme from the chiropractor. So it helped. Whatever she gave me helped. But definitely, you don't realize how sick you are until you start eating better and you start feeling better. And the fact that it's the gat that just, I was telling her the other day, I was like, how amazing this lifestyle and this eating better. It just, everything falls into place.
Yeah.
Just healing and noticing different things. Because I did introduce something back in just to experiment. It's just an experiment, not to say I want to have it back. And it made me feel horrible for hours. It was bad. I thought, you know what? This is exactly why eating a proper diet is so much more pleasant,
Yeah.
more comfortable.
Yeah. Arthritis improved, no
Mm.
anxiety or depression.
No postnasal drip though, or
Oh, that's
anxiety and
nice.
depression. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have noticed it's helped my anxiety quite a bit, just being carnivore. I have sort of social anxiety, like appointments like this and going out in
Okay.
public, doing stuff like that. Yeah.
That's kind of almost leads into that next one when the emotional or
Oh,
mental,
yeah.
because that is true. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get depressed just because they are overweight and they don't like it. And they
Yeah,
might say, "Oh, no, I'm fine." But deep down, I think it's a pretty tough,
I do too.
kind of
Sorry about
thing.
that noise. I had written some
Yeah,
notes.
no
So I
worries.
just
Oh, his floaters are better too.
Oh, great.
Yeah. That's
I'm really going to
awesome.
notice that. I'm going to start noticing myself.
Yeah. I used to have really bad depression, but I needed thyroid hormone to fix that. Once I got on my thyroid medication, the depression went away. The anxiety remained. And now it's much quieter. Like, it was never really serious, but it's just much quieter, more in the background, more manageable. So, I like that.
So emotional
Yeah.
and mental issues being improved also. I'm still really new about, in case anyone just doesn't really understand, I'm really new at all of this.
Yeah.
But already in just the short amount of time, my self-esteem has went up because of I'm driven by results. I want to be thin. This is my why. I want to shed weight and have smaller body, smaller clothes, and just be a smaller person in general. So having depression is a big thing because I felt horrible about myself. And you have to go out into the world because I'm called to go out, but feeling terrible, looking terrible did not make me feel good. And now that I have lost inches, I stand taller, period. Not because my self esteem is higher, but my body just feels different. My shoulders just relax and I walk normal and I'm not all hurting all of the time. And I just look better. So the depression has definitely started to trickle down. Will it come back up from a life experience? I don't know. But for now, just the way I feel and look has helped tremendously.
Yeah. Well, I know we were doing the Teresa O, who's kind of on, the YouTube, and I forgot who she's been working with. I think it was Dr. Boz. I think one of the people she's been working with anyway, is one of the coachings. I can't remember. But she even said it best. She's like, one day I was just looking outside and I just kind of smiled. And that stuck with me, what she said, because it was just like one day just happy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these things kind of sneak up on us. It's like we just notice we're not as agitated slowly. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I guess, that's not happening.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see that because even just small little changes by actually not being as aggravated, there are some situations where you can totally get them escalated, but it doesn't have to be. And sure, I can see that. Well, our brains are healing.
Yeah.
Right? We're getting the proper nutrients in our body for our brains to work.
Yeah.
I do. I swatted them too. The first time I ever had a floater.
Sometimes you think it's something like a bug or something is what I think.
Yes. Mild cataracts, yeah.
Ooh,
I don't know. Based on being an optician, though, we have never.
What I would say
never heard
is the lens is going to harden as you age. That's just.
I keep forgetting if is it Lisa or Linda Wiedemann?
Wiedemann, something like that. Yeah, I think it is
Lisa or Linda. What is it? Is it
Lisa?
It's the Carnivore Doctor.
Yes,
it's under the Carnivore Doctor.
Oh, okay.
And she's actually like an eye doctor, and she has done a lot of videos on eyes. I wouldn't be able to say the cataract thing is way above my pay grade, and I never had it, so I wouldn't be able to say. But she's someone to go out, scour her videos and watch her, because I know she had one probably a month and a half ago where she talked for like an hour plus about all these different things going on. So at least I can say, hey, go over there and check her
Sure.
out. She might
Yeah.
know.
I'd like to hear what she has to say on that.
Yeah, she's good stuff. She's right
Yeah.
where Children from.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
It's just cataracts.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And
Yeah.
she's been doing this for like 14 years,
Hmm.
Carnivore
Oh,
or
wow.
something.
Mhm.
So, yep. And she is off.
Right.
Oh, got to take care of the cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. No,
Thanks for
I
being
guess not.
there.
I
Thank you.
messed up above. I messed up. I'm just getting through these things now on that.
Okay.
So,
We're fine. I hope they can dissolve.
oh,
cat-
you can dissolve
Oh,
it. Okay. Well, so it's
that
like
would
kind of
be
the same thing,
amazing.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, re-soften
It's
your
just
limbs.
nothing I've ever been
Yeah.
taught, of
Yeah.
course.
I don't know with the floaters and if there are protein spots. Again, that's what I was told. So I'm not saying that's what they are, but that's,
Sure.
and I think it's just the whole explanation was kind of long, but it was like how proteins break loose or something in that fluid. And that's what you're seeing is they float that protein to the outer thing. So it's that. Dr. Lehman, he is world leading researcher. Yeah, I've heard that guy's name before. I don't know if I've really seen much or read much on it, but I actually was watching something today and he was brought up by these English guys that were talking about that. And I think can't remember her name now. Oh well. Was talking about him.
0.6 to
User
1
age,
gram.
health, stomach acid, several factors.
So if you
I've
want
always heard like 0.8 to 1.2, depending on what you're doing. That's what I've always heard. Kind of start at 1 and go up or down. Like if you're going to be working out a lot and want to put on muscle, you can up it. But if you're kind of sedentary, you can drop it down a little bit.
Yeah, so if you just hover around 1 gram per pound,
Up or down.
maybe 135, let's say, then you
With
would
no
shoot
gas.
135 grams of protein a day.
You measuring this on the scale though? You just weigh your food?
In the beginning.
I think you can just kind of general, like if you looked up how much, ribeye has and you kind of know when you buy it, it's like, oh, I'm eating this, these ribeyes. That's what I've got a rough idea and it works, but I really just do the old fashioned eat when hungry, eat till I'm satiated.
Yeah.
And I've noticed it's always about the same amount these days. I tend to just eat like 1 chuck roast a day. That's kind of my main.
Mm-hmm.
So those are usually 2.5 pounds, something like that. And I tend to do OMAD, so I just usually sit down and chomp it out. And like I said, and there's always that quarter bit left. But again, I ate that quarter from before. So
What do you mean by OMAD?
1 meal a day.
1 meal a day.
1 meal a day. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to try 2 when I start working out and seeing how that goes.
With
Just
OMAD?
because I want to test it. Like 2 meals a day because if I'm going to start working out really hard, like doing a lot of, I don't want to lift weights. It's going to be more like hard hiking, rucking, push-ups, stuff without
that's
weights.
fun stuff. Yeah.
And see how it goes to put on some muscle,
Yeah.
I don't like gyms. I just never have liked lifting.
I'd rather
weights, but I
hike.
love hiking and it's like, when you see those people do the box jumps, how they'll jump up and down on a box.
Oh, yeah.
To do stuff like that, like I know there's some big rocks behind our house. Like I'd rather go because I love hiking and camping. And if I can go find a trail and kind of hike, and my theory is a lot of the top trainers say train what you want to do. And I used to be a big cyclist, like bicycle guy, road cyclist. If you just ride every day, that's how you get good at riding. So if I want to get really good at hiking, my thing is hike and just put some more weight on you, because then when that weight comes off, it feels easy. And we have a really gnarly mountain right behind our house. So I can literally just walk out around the corner and hit some like really steep, hard trails. And that I think will do a lot of fun.
Yep.
That'll do nicely.
Great.
And, yeah,
Sounds great.
Way more fun than the
Yeah.
gym. We don't have any mountains. Yeah. We have flat.
Oh, I loved potatoes. Oh my goodness.
I don't like the way
There was that is a mod for Dr. Barry. Okay, that could be right then, Mike. Yeah, she's great though. She's worth looking up. She's got a great story and everything else.
I have to hear it now. I just have to.
Right?
Yeah. It's funny how little things stick with you. You know what I mean? And I kind of can realize that too. Like you're just kind of happy one day and smiling or laughing about something, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's not such a weight, and you feel so unmotivated when you're depressed too. So even though you still have your same goals and desires, you just don't care. You just don't care,
Right.
and
I
that's
know.
really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
But
courage and self-esteem went up too, and I just started August 1st. Well, that's good. Everybody
Oh,
has different.
yeah,
Everybody has different dates, kind of how quick they get it,
yeah,
yeah.
sure.
and how much they've noticed that.
I am encouraged though by you and other long-term carnivores. It seems like past a few years, 2, 3 years, you really start getting some deeper benefits than
Okay.
I
just
think,
weight loss, just
yeah,
lack of inflammation.
like the eyesight. At least for me,
Yeah.
and there were some other ones with the eyesight and things, and like the hair color. I've always had really short hair, but and it's all I've always kind of had like a widow's. If you see pictures of me from like 30, but the colors come back more because I keep it shaved really tight. So I'm
Mhm,
always has a little pile every 1 or 2 weeks.
mhm.
But like I've said to people before, this never went, the hair. But other people in the comments are like, yeah, my beard started getting color back. And I'm like, oh, mine didn't. But
Interesting. But I've heard that also.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it's the copper. Copper is what brings the color back to your hair. That's what I've
I
heard.
know.
My
Well,
mom started supplementing and her hair turned back.
my hair underneath, for some reason, started to turn a different color. Well, I have silver hair and now I have red hair underneath,
Interesting.
reddish brown. It's weird. But we're also in our 40s.
Yeah.
We're going through changes that may not be related to
Yeah.
a diet, a new eating, not diet, lifestyle.
Yeah.
At
I'm
least you're
also still
starting though.
learning
That's
lingo.
what counts.
Yeah.
I know for me, this is life. Like I've been doing it long enough.
Yes,
I have no reason to stop.
yes.
And me being 60 years old, I don't feel like I'm 60 anymore. I used to kind of almost worry about being 60, like, oh man, that's just,
Sure.
get what, and now I feel like I can go do other things. Now, granted, because I used to be a big cyclist and I still ride mountain bikes really hard, and I have a pretty nice mountain bike. I've already destroyed the front rim that I got to replace, and I've already crashed pretty hard a couple of times, and
Oh,
it still hurts just as bad as when you're young. So I'm still kind of,
oh,
pushing things, but that's wild that you can do that.
Yes.
Because most people at 60 wouldn't be pushing that and crashing, they'd be like Mr. Safe. And I'm just like, oh, this sucks. Then
I
like,
like it. Yeah.
so yeah.
Adventurous.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I wish we had mountains.
I
So
wanted
that's
to make
interesting
a
too,
comment,
then for the eyes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
but the last comment about being so done with the sad diet, yes.
Mhm.
And in
Yeah.
my first video, like officially with April, we did one from the cruise just to talk about our cruise, but it's goodbye forever because I am done with it. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. And for years with April as my friend, we've been friends for 26 years. So she gives me so much information all of the time that I cannot, we're just two different types of people.
Mhm.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
We have different strengths and I go just different things. But the sad diet, it can never be a part of my life ever again.
Mhm.
It
No,
makes you
it'll
stink.
never be
It makes
back.
you bloat. It makes you unhappy. Yeah, we know everything it brings on, and I can never look back at that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's done. It's dead.
Well, I think too, I like this one with the potatoes. Then Rick's going to say, I don't like potatoes. There's actually a carnivore mashed potato.
Yes, we tried it.
We
Did you
did.
try it?
We had
It
did
is.
What
it.
was it like?
It's eggs.
Interesting.
It's actually
It's
pretty darn good.
It
pretty
tastes
darn
like
good.
a
Okay.
steakhouse
'Cause-
potato.
It's like smooth. Normally, I liked my mashed potatoes more chunky, and that's just not possible to get with this recipe. So they're very smooth,
Yeah.
like a potato flavored pudding.
It was different.
It's just egg whites. I thought it was brilliant.
It
like,
is. It
Yeah.
is
The
brilliant.
alchemy of what he created there is brilliant. I look forward to trying the rice. He has a rice recipe, and it's just egg whites cooked and then dried and then cooked and then dried and then cooked and then dried. Like I'm waiting for a
dried and
day to do it.
That's interesting then. So it's just a back and forth kind of thing.
Just getting them to where they're
Yeah.
more like rice and less like egg whites,
Yeah, it was just different.
It's a very versatile ingredient. I thought it was great. I'm planning it for my Thanksgiving spread.
I probably would as well. I mean, it really did.
It was there, it was pretty
Here's
close.
on this comment, what's interesting is I had my site up, I think. Let me see something. I can't remember what I called the video. I think it was like, I was wrong. The mental journey of carnivore. It's more than losing weight. I didn't record anything. I wanted the old me gone. So I didn't record times or things or plateaus or where I was. And when I started trying to recall this, and I'm pretty good about not remembering it correct, then my wife, like, usually from the office would be like, oh, it was in this time, or something.
Great wife.
And I was looking for some photos to try to show what it was. And then all of a sudden I saw a photo of me and the kids at church with the Christmas tree, and we had taken this photo, and I'm like, those were the final clothes I bought. And I could tell I was at that 178 pounds. And I thought it was a year and a half, not a year in, that that I'd finally lost the weight. Cause I remember that last bit took a while. The last 20 pounds took a while. So even with that, like not seeing things right, whether that's actually seen with your eyes or just like seeing things like in general or recalling, I think that's one thing that has gotten better. And I think a lot of times too, if people are not feeling good, not healthy, and I've even heard Baker mention this, there's a lot of stuff going on in the brain. And when it's not healthy, it's not firing correctly. There's, a lack of the cholesterol, the sheathing.
Yes.
You hear all this stuff with the sheathing and everything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and that's that brain fog that so many people get better clarity on. I think it's common that people tend to, get a difference. They make a difference on the whole lifestyle. I think that's a pretty common thing coming across that.
Yeah, definitely.
A new video today. I'm mad.
Oh,
nice. I did OMAD for a really long time. That's what I'm going to go back to when I do a weight loss.
I like it.
I like it too. It's very simple. And, like we were talking about, you have to cook everything. Well, you only have to really cook once, and you just eat everything you can, and then you're done. It's very clean, easy.
What you eat.
And then Rick.
You're not eating in a window of 4 hours. You're eating at one meal, one time.
Right.
I see.
I definitely do eat when I'm hungry. So I definitely don't. I only tried a 48-hour fast once, and I didn't really like it. And I think maybe I tried it twice. Anyway, don't really like it. I thought maybe I'll try it again just for fun, something to talk about, to see what I think. I don't like being hungry. I just don't like being hungry. And that's why even if I'm hungry toward the evening, I can go nibble on like 12 bites of leftovers. Oh, you're going to break your... It's like, I don't really care if I break a fast with 12 bites, because if all I wanted was 12 bites of leftovers, okay, good. I feel good. And that might be at 5 o'clock. Because if I tend to eat it like around 11-ish, like 11 to 1, anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours after I wake up. Okay. So that's generally for me. And so I definitely don't believe like you got to push through it. I think in the first 6 months, if you're really trying to lose weight and you're really trying for optimum and you're a little bit hungry and it's right toward bedtime, just push through and go to bed and get up. But that's a different, I think that I want to get the optimum results as quick as I can. Or do you not care how it takes and you just want to be comfy the whole way through? I really have that. Everybody has to do what they're going to do for that.
I definitely love the
and for sure the support.
Oh, the support is really nice.
Absolutely. Everyone has been super nice except for that one guy.
Very much.
Yeah.
Everyone else is.
Then I go to click on the little like 3 things to do the delete, and it's like, oh, I clicked off.
I was just like, what?
All right.
We tend to naturally
Yeah.
fast. Yes, for me, yes. I'm just not hungry,
Yeah.
and it's easy fast, but and then sometimes it is spiritual fast. I mean, we're the carnivore Christians. I mean, I fast for spiritual reasons all of the time. So
Yeah.
it just works with my lifestyle.
Yeah. It's really good for you too.
Mhm.
As long as you don't overdo it.
Yeah. I went 10 days once, but that wasn't for health. That was for spiritual purposes. That was the longest I ever went.
Goodness. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was pointed at me when I said
think-
60, because you guys are in your 40s. That might have
I
been.
think it was you because I did not think you were.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed you were 60.
I don't think I look 60.
No.
I don't think I have this appearance of 60 or talk like, you know, you know,
Yeah,
that kind of a thing.
No, I thought you were in your 40s too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been, and I've always kind of looked at my dad's 92 and he's still getting around. My mom's 90, so good genes probably
Yeah.
on top of it. But I think also I'm just, you know, I taught diving for 15 years and I worked on boats. So I beat the heck out of my skin, you know, working on boats and stuff. So I should be way more weathered. But I think it's just that attitude of just, like I said, I'm strict on what I do, but I just don't care. You know, when I first moved to the mainland, I remember I was in line at the bank and this lady behind me is like, I wish the teller would hurry up. And I remember just having that island thing because I'd just gotten here. I'm like, turned around to her and said, you know, if you're in such a hurry, why didn't you leave 5 minutes earlier?
Oh.
And I don't think that's what she wanted to hear.
Oh, of course not.
She was just like, you know, and it was like, so I went up to the teller and I'm like, you know, this lady behind me is like totally like raging that things are going to take a while. So how are things going today? Just like, you know, it was just one of those things that's the kind of, because it is true. Like that whole island life and that whole island attitude, I still get upset at the idiot that cuts me off or they're going slow in the left lane. Don't get me wrong. There's always that.
Right.
But at the same point, you know, you just got to slow down and
for sure.
take it, not get stressed.
For sure.
Be present.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no
Calm
problem.
No. Raging at the bank.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. I would say, please go ahead of me. I mean, I wouldn't even, I'm not that way. No way. Getting stressed about like some things, sure, but that's just anger and it's not a fruit of the spirit.
I like that one. I'll have to try to remember that one for the sad diet.
Anxiety, depression.
For sure.
Dr. AJ. Right on.
Yep. So I am curious on the secret weapon, since this was your guys' thing. I'm like, secret weapons.
I already sort of let mine out of the bag with the pork rinds. You know, if you just do something quick.
So tricks, like a little trick or something is your secret weapon, like a trick.
Yeah. Just like, what can you do? Little mind tricks.
Well, wait, like secret weapons. Maybe I misunderstood the secret.
I was thinking like you had an app or something that you were.
Well, I mean, I did do a chronometer app for all the tracking. I bought that for a year. I don't use it anymore, so I let it slide. But it was very convenient to. Weighed my food and I did all of that. Oh, Bunny was like,
my secret weapon.
I'll give you a little cheerleading there.
Thank you.
My secret weapon is literally, it's mental. It's weigh days, weigh in. I don't want to stress out about it. Good night. And then what did I say my other one was? Oh, it's just for me, just checking myself. I'm calling it a secret weapon because it's more intentional now. So am I really hungry, or am I just, keep it up, thank you. Or am I just bored?
Yeah.
You know, that's also, it's a secret weapon for me is just checking myself. It's all, I have to hold myself accountable.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I think, you know, going on that idea of like a secret little thing, I've told people this in the first, like, say 3 months, if you're gonna, the falling, tripping, whatever you call it, I don't really care. You know, I'll get this out. If somebody messes up, whatever your age is, if you're 43, you've been messing up for, you know, not really 43 years, take out the 18, say
Probably
25
about
years since you could make your own decision.
23
You've been
years.
messing up for 25 years. So what's one day?
Yeah.
If you mess up on day 17, you're still on day 17.
Yep.
Tomorrow's still going to be day 18.
Yes.
So
It's
there
not like
is,
to go back.
this is what, and I've actually got that mentioning, I'm doing a video about something that, and I actually mentioned, it's funny this came up because I'm actually going to be mentioning that. I think people have to quit worrying about this messing up.
Yes.
Because look at the Olympics, the best people in the world, and they're like the skiing or any kind of, thing that they're pushing boundaries, they're falling.
Yes.
Does that mean
You're
they're
right.
no good? And yet they're in the Olympics. And if anybody's done competitive sports or anything competitive where you're really pushing things, like me mountain biking, I still fall after riding my bike constantly. So I think this falling thing, sometimes people beat themselves up over it, and there's just no reason to. The question is, do you learn? And maybe in the carnivore diet space, it's not quite like a mountain bike or something, but you can also know your boundaries. And when you push it and you fall, now you know your boundaries.
Yes.
You know not to walk down, like Kip seen that cheesecake in one of his things. If you know Kip, you know what I mean? Seen that cheesecake. You just don't walk down that aisle ever again. You don't walk down the cookie aisle to go to the meat section. Those are the little things that you can learn.
That's good.
And you just come up with these paths. But if you need something like bread, make like the chaffles. Mm-hmm. And like I've said, you can take, the chaffles where you mix up the pork rinds, crush them, and then you mix an egg in it, and you put them in those little dash waffle makers, and they're really crunchy and good. So it's one of those things, if you're, I say you got to be, just to me, you got to be careful with them. Don't make them become a meal, because it's better to pack yourself with good, healthy meat than those. But if you make one for like a burger and you need a burger because you're, in that first 3 months or 4 months and you're jonesing for something, they can be a good distraction. You can put pepperoni in it and mozzarella and make like a pepperoni kind of flavored one to get a pizza fix out of the way. You could take bacon bits and cheddar cheese and kind of have this bacon cheddar, then have it with like a 2 burgers, kind of reverse. Instead of making them a buns, you could put 2 burgers, one on each side. So it's kind of a reverse burger, and have this bacon cheddar burger, but you get a little bit of that kind of bready thing. Yeah. If you take it and then actually put in like sour cream and mix them, like I made this a couple of times. I'm trying to get the wife to do more clean keto, but I made them before, again, in those first 3 or 4 months, some more cream cheese in it. And then you make them, and then you make eggs Benedict, and then you take bacon grease and some butter and make a hollandaise. And you can have, and again, I don't like all that prep time. Yeah. But I did that. I honestly did that. Everybody does their first year. I think this is why you hear this carnivore pizza, this kind of thing and stuff. Yeah. And I think it's that experimenting, and you're pulling away from those habits. But those, I think, are even handy little tricks that if people need something, because it does take a while to break those old habits. And there's a lot of things like that. Yeah. So that would be my input.
We did a video. We made, I don't want to misname it. I don't remember the bread.
Oh, the Next Level yeasted butter bread from Indigo Neely. It's carnivore. It's just egg whites, and
that's like the egg white stuff. Yeah, I've seen that, but I've never made it. I've never yet once. I always think I should just make it just so I can see what this is about.
Yeah, it's very memory foam mattressy, but hers is the least memory foam mattressy that I've been able to find. It's actually pretty tasty, but like you were saying with the prep work, it's just extra prep work. I don't really need the bread, so I don't make it very often. But when that urge strikes me, yes, if I need bread, that's the kind of bread I'm going to make.
Well, and I haven't had it since then, and I even bought a mixer so I can make it, because I'm still in that. I'm still in that trying to, I kind of like how you are the minimalist carnivore. Yeah. I like that. And I think ideally at some point it's going to be there.
Yeah.
That's right. Like I said, I'm 3.5 years into this. It took me a year to hit my plateau, but I also worked really hard, but I made an intentional move away from those things once I kind of did it. But I do know that I did those, and it can help people get away.
Sure.
And maybe it's like 15 years of teaching scuba, 8 years of teaching snowboard. You're used to getting people down a hill or diving, and everybody's different and they need a different coaxing method. They need a different comfort. They need a different pat on the back, or like, just do it. Some
Yeah.
people need that stern. Some
Yeah.
people need, oh, it's okay. It's okay. And I'll help you put your fins on. And
Yeah.
other people, you just go, dude, put your fins on. Are you a loser? What? Just get them on. It's, you got to read people.
You
Right.
for sure.
Really do.
But that's
And that's what it is. And everybody's different.
Also.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
scripture. There are certain times to give the just do it, and then there's other times to be more gentle and our approach on things.
And it's the same thing. If somebody's stalling, like back to that, and they're really stalling, and they're like, I really want to get through this, or they're okay with it. They're like, I'm not in a hurry. Kind of like me at the bank that day with the lady. I'm not in a hurry, whatever. But if they're like, I want to get through this, what can I do? You can say, well, here's what you're going to do. Just beef, salt water doesn't always work.
Yeah.
But it's something to try.
Mhm.
Upping the fat is something to try. And I know sometimes, you got to be careful saying, well, just that, because that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to work. You can still kind of do keto work, but usually you have to kind of break something. Something is going on, whether, again, there's something that throwing in a wrench in the system, whatever you want to say, might shake it loose. And that might even be eating 4 times a day for 2 days in a row and just overeating and then pulling back to normal, or it might mean fasting. It's impossible to say because everybody's so different.
Yes, that's right.
It's like fishing. It really is like fishing. You don't go, it's not like I'm going to go get dinner. It's like you go fishing and you hope you get it, and you might have to try different bait, different lures, different things, different depths, different times a day. Maybe that's the best analogy, that this finding the method is like fishing. You have a good idea, and the more you do it, the better you get, and you can kind of read the water and read what's going on and know what's working. But yeah. And that's true about the community right there, Mike.
Absolutely.
That's what's awesome about it.
I do like that. I like how, a lot of my community is you, but also online.
Right.
Watching people online and connecting with them. Super cool, super friendly, very encouraging. I just like the vibe of that. I don't think everyone who does the lifestyle is a Christian, but there's
a lot of them though
of eating this way. There are, but I know there are not as well.
Yeah. But
still, the community is still tight with that, and I did notice that. I like it. I'm on board with that.
And that's a good way to be right there where she's at. Just stop worrying about messing up.
Yeah, sure enough. I feel that. Michael Jordan.
That's true, Michael Jordan.
There you go. Dr. AJ.
That's exactly it.
And your fun things to say. That's just great.
It's like golf, unless you're whatever his name is of North Korea, who actually does shoot an 18. So he says,
on his first round.
What's the latest one? Yeah, like
it was the dad of
the dad, or that when he was I get 18. It's like, yeah, right. That's actually a good one about like even Michael Jordan missing baskets or best home run or playing golf. You're never going to hit that perfect score.
And that's great.
And they would strike out the most because they're doing it the most.
Yeah, sure.
So don't be afraid to fail. And
that's good.
In this lifestyle, there is no failing unless you just plain give up.
Unless you just stop.
See, and that's exactly what I say too. The only thing you fail at is if you actually quit and walk away from it.
Right.
And that's why I think it's important to mention those days to people. If you mess up at day 17, you're still on 17. If it's on day 200, you're still on day 200, and tomorrow's still going to be 201.
Yes.
Now, if you leave and come back, you still have 200 days of this, like from doing it, that meant, what's coming in. Your physical might be set back, whatever, 50 days or 70 days of that healing, but it'll come back quick and you already know what's in store. Yeah. I just think people give it too much credit, It's like being biblical. to go off on this tangent, the devil gets way too much credit.
Oh,
He
I
can't be
just said
everywhere
that.
all at once.
Yes.
Yep.
He cannot be everywhere at once. He can
No.
only be at a few places, and he can plant seeds of things, and he can have his workers out there planting
right.
seeds, like the guy in the comment who said the
Right.
rude thing, like those things. But people give him sometimes too much power, like,
Agree. Preach.
and I think that's the analogy too to use, like, hey, there's that thing, and this is a fallen world,
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
and we're under this pressure. I mean, the fact, he was up on a thing with Jesus, tempting Jesus. Talk about standing up to the big guy. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Ooh.
come on, man. Go ahead. Take those rocks. Turn it, So for us to go, oh, this temptation of cheesecake, I even told Kip this. I go, dude, he didn't say turn those rocks into bread. You know what I mean? It's like you were looking at cheesecake, so don't beat yourself up over it,
Sure.
which is
Yeah.
true.
Right.
But I have said
But-
what you just said with April. We
Mhm.
talk all the time, and
Mhm.
you said it perfectly though just now. This is exactly. It's just the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Got to keep moving. Everybody fails.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's even true of the Christian life that you face
Oh.
all the time,
Yeah.
the time.
Or did you just
So
quit?
like, oh, boo-hoo about the carnivore. You know what I mean? That's how I'm not trying to be mean about it, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, this is why you don't beat yourself up. It's just not
Yep.
worth it. At least you're doing something. At least you're
Yes.
trying.
Yeah.
Yes. I love
And that's
that.
the biggest thing.
Forgive yourself if you feel like there's something
Yeah.
to forgive.
Forgive. Be
Move
patient
on.
with yourself though as well. And I'm talking to
True.
myself right now.
Yeah.
Just be patient.
Be strict.
Yeah.
Give grace.
Discipline, having self-discipline,
Yes.
and yeah,
Yeah.
it's all
And
good.
Again, well, I say people have to be careful with things like, keto pizza, carnivore pizza. If you want to get stricter and get optimum results, maybe just say, okay, I'm going to have this on my birthday and, for Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever, and Christmas and a couple of things. And then wait till you get to that plateau point, and then you can say, okay, I'll have it once in a while more often.
Mhm.
And then I think it's even more special. It's just like anything you have that's even more special.
Sure.
But that's how I think, and that doesn't make it right.
But
But
I
I do
agree.
think it's for those optimum results. Again, I tend to not say what I'm thinking, but if people do want that optimum result, you're going to have to kind of step out and not just keep doing what you want. But if you're
Right.
like you guys were talking about, it's okay, you're on this long road and you're fine with that long road.
Sure.
I kind of thought, oh, I'm 60, I got to do something fast. Actually, I was only 57 when I started, but you know what I mean? Less time.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I've
yeah.
thought the same way when I first started in June. I even made the comments in 20 years, I will be 63. I can't wait. I don't have time. I might not have tomorrow, but today I made the best choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, that's right.
One thing too, I'm all for this. Like if you guys like April's, feel free to post your YouTube channel things in the chat. We don't have tons of people, but we've got some people in here. So it's like,
Thank you
post
for
them in
everyone
there.
who's there.
I'm like,
Christians.
this isn't a competition. It's like
No.
We said the
the
same
whole tide
thing.
raises all boats. So feel free to
Yeah.
put your things in there.
Thank
folks.
you.
Feel free. Yeah.
Thank you so
Because
much.
that's important.
Can do that right now.
Well, and I have a YouTube channel that has been silent for probably 3 years now, just because it was a season, and I'm out of that season now. But I'm Keto Evangelist Dawn, and at some point I'm going to launch off some videos on that as well, little shorts, and
Yeah.
because I am an evangelist and a missionary, and that's another reason why, if I can say this,
Go for it.
that I want to be smaller and healthier, so that the ministry is serious and
Yeah.
discipline is serious. And
Yes.
I think that that might just be noticed or looked at, and I would not want that to harm, because I'm in a lifestyle that might not line up exactly with
What you're preaching.
with I'm not saying the Lord said we have to be carnivore, but
No.
a healthier lifestyle,
Yeah.
caring
Healthy.
about the temple.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to. And I was not caring for my temple.
That's the thing, you know, there's the body you were given.
Yeah.
And I did, that's, I think by half the, you know, cause since being better, it's like I'm back, you know, I'm not back, I should say, but going in, you know, men's Bible study now and really getting more because I know now I feel more like going in there. Before I just didn't want to go because I hated myself.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
And that was a
I
bad
can
spot.
identify.
You know, I just watch it online and think that's good enough, but yet we know it's about actually getting out there with people. This
Yes.
isn't an individual thing. It's definitely,
Oh no, we have to
I
live
would
on
afford
purpose.
ribeye every day. Yeah, one day maybe I'll afford ribeye every day.
In Texas right now, it's probably like $12 a pound or maybe more.
It's bad.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. I tend to go to Sam's Club in the morning because they have it on sale first thing in the morning,
Oh.
often for 25% off.
Oh.
And then I just buy what I
Fantastic.
can. And if you get the card that's like the better membership, you get in like 2 hours earlier. Cause I noticed before I would never get it, but now that I go there right when they open. So
Wow.
like I got ribeye the other day and they're not the best, but they're still pretty good. You know,
Mm.
just like the choice, you know, or select,
Yeah.
no choice. And, you know, but $9.47 a pound is what I was
Oh,
paying on sale. So that's not bad.
sometimes what
Chuck's
is it?
normally about $6, and so whatever 20% off, 25% off on that is.
Yeah. They
Mhm.
keep
I
running
think
new
somebody
ones.
went carnivore to keep it. I think keto. I said that before. Keto can be complicated. I think a lot of people don't find that it moves quick enough, and I think there's too many options, too many variables. And also, when you look at the channels that have like 800,000 subs, they're always about keto snacks and keto chocolate bars and keto this and keto that, and you can't live on that stuff.
Right.
And I think that is the one problem, even with some of the carnivore treats, is they get to be too many and you get away from it where you should be filling up on the meat and then maybe have it on an occasion. And again, that's me, kind of the hardcore side of me coming out, you know, have that and then have that as something to have for that. But again, that first 3 month to 6 month transitionary period, I think you have more room to wiggle and kind of make sure you're comfortable and happy and moving along. Because I can tell you, a year in, I was totally different. And at 2 years in, I was totally different. And at 3 years in, I really have no. I could have said 6 months or a year, yeah, I can walk down the chip and cookie aisle and not, you know, care about it. Yeah, maybe, but you kind of go, oh, I remember those.
Right.
You know.
Oh yeah.
and after like 2 years, you really get so you don't even care. And like, at least for me, in the third year, it's like I've tried a couple bites of things once in a while, and they're usually disgusting. So it's truly
Yes.
gone.
Yeah.
And it's just like anything you do day in, day out, you know.
Well, and like, okay, so food addictions, and have I had
Good night.
tips to overcome? So
I'm a
thank
little
you,
bit
Danielle.
late.
Thanks, Danielle.
I wouldn't. I actually might have some addictions still. I mean, because I have eaten what I wanted to for so long without thinking.
Yeah.
Is the problem. I wasn't thinking about it, but now I'm being intentional and on purpose. So, Dr. Pepper is a huge thing in Texas. I mean, I grew up with drinking Dr. Pepper at my grandparents' house, have a Dr. Pepper, but how about not? Because it's terrible for us. And I tried one recently, and it was not the same that it used to be, because it just totally tastes different, and I'm okay with that. No, I'm not the same.
Well, that was like me and the Swedish fish. I've mentioned this a couple of times. My kids for Halloween would get it. And on October, I'd already been, since I started the first year, the first October, you know, I was like, oh, I'll try one. And it was insanely sweet, but it had memory and flavor. Sure. And I keep saying it's like hearing a song from when you were in high school. It brings you back, but you don't want to stay there.
No, right. Oh,
you know, so I was like, okay. And I bit the little dude's head off, and then I spit it out. Well, the second year I tried it, and I could taste the synthetic flavoring.
Yes.
And I tasted sweet, but I tasted sickness that was like this artificial flavoring of trying to make it I don't know what Swedish fish flavor is. It doesn't even exist. As you know, it's like this weird Swedish fish flavor.
Right.
And it was just this most disgusting thing. And the third year, I didn't even ever try them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Y'all
might
broke
like
up.
in a year, maybe if they get him, next year or something, I might go, oh, I'm curious again. But that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do love doing chuck patties, and I do
Mhm.
add some cheese. I grill them.
Yeah.
Oh, they're it's just easy. My family,
A
my
little
brother
cheese,
and my
like
niece
setting 4
like
to
them.
6.
So good.
Mhm.
Easy.
Even just taking, like, if you cook an egg, I tend to, I don't eat eggs because I'm allergic to them. But when I did eat eggs, then I never noticed when I ate eggs, I already had allergies. So I never noticed what was causing it. Then once I got better and quit eggs, then I noticed getting better than I ate them. And it's like, yeah, I get worse. So I tested that.
Oh,
But if you break the yolk so it kind of spreads out and then over easy, so it's still kind of done, and then stack like burgers and eggs, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that sounds
I
really
like
nice.
that, but
Sounds really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
and reading that there are a lot of Christians in the community, I'd say above average,
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if it is because of, I'm going to use the word integrity. I'm not always the best with the words that I use, but maybe it is integrity because it is the right way to take care of our bodies. And maybe it is more Christians want to
I
have
think
more.
it's been a lot more too with the ones that are, obviously some of them, but I think with more people starting up and doing stuff more, I don't know if it's also maybe that they're going to start standing up and doing what's right for their health because they're getting sick of, the political social
Oh,
situations, and they're
yes,
like, I'm going to start doing what's right and I'm not going to be afraid to say it. I don't
for
know if
sure.
that's part of it or whatever, but
Maybe so.
I like it. I be bold. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just know it's changed my life, and I wanted to change her life, and I wanted to help anyone else out there who wanted to change their life. And so we're just on this journey together.
but it's timing.
Yeah.
For me, it was
Mhm.
timing. And I can say that, should I say about Dr.
Oh,
Berry what happened?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So on the Carnivore cruise, I went for fun because I hadn't been anywhere in 4 years and I had traveled quite a bit before they shut the world down. So I needed to go somewhere. We didn't need a test. We didn't have to show proof of
That's
a
great.
vaccination or any of that noise. So we got to go. And I met Dr. Berry for the first time. I didn't know him. I hadn't even ever heard him speak before, but she wanted to get in line after he spoke, which he said some really good things. And I made some notes if we get to those questions. But when he met me, I mean, it was so fast.
Yeah.
She's like, "Hi, I'm April. I saw you at KetoCon." And he remembered her, but then he looked at me and he took my hand and he simply said, "Your life is about to change." That was it.
That was it.
Now, Dr. Berry may not realize what he said it was very prophetic to my
Yeah.
life, though. And I knew it. And we both knew that the presence of the Lord was very heavy at that moment
Mhm.
because it was my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my time. I had heard it for years, but that was my time.
There's always a point.
Yes.
Right.
Anything, whether it be even getting in the carnivore diet, you hit a breaking point, you hit rock bottom, you hit something, somebody says something, people becoming Christian when you see people in prison doing it,
Yes.
man, that's a step. What could that be that made that person go from whatever they did that put them in prison to that?
Yeah.
Everybody has this point, and when it goes, it just goes and goes.
Oh, yeah.
I like
The
this
Lord is
one.
so good.
Thank you for doing this with my mom. I should say,
Aw.
thank your mom for doing this with me.
Aw.
It goes both ways.
We're very
Right?
thankful. This
We
is
are. This
wonderful.
is fun. Yeah.
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 Well, I know it's getting up there, so we'll probably kind of wrap up here in a minute or two,
Sure.
But
something else.
This has been
I'll
fun
say
though.
this.
And like I said, when I saw you guys on the live, I thought, oh, it'd be just, I still want to do an interview thing, but I thought it'd be fun to do a live because I knew you weren't going to be out, it's not a dangerous with somebody you don't know. Not that, but there's a lot of people in the community you could do a live with. So I should make that clear. Obviously there's a lot of people, but it's always sometimes nice to do something. I thought, yeah, that'll be fun. Just put it out there and see what happens.
Well, but we prayed
Practice
before
not
this
saying
also,
so
it
much.
went
I keep
well.
catching myself saying more now though.
Well,
It's all right. It's
no
fine.
problem.
Hey, in the house.
Bold carnivore. I love it. Be
Yeah.
bold. I love that.
Yeah. That's the
good
other guy I got to hook up with and do some stuff with online. There's so many people. I've just been so overwhelmed. Luckily, I had pretty good growth. It's kind of slowed down, but I've got to get more videos out. I've just been so busy. My kids are 14 and 19.
Oh, wow.
And so, it's just life, how that goes,
Sure.
and trying to do everything else. So,
You've got a great following, though.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I mean, I was
yeah.
very
Well, that's the thing, for only just under 2 months, because I think only like 2 or 3 of my videos are at 2 months. The rest are all at 1 month, and it's
wow.
7,500. So something's
I
resonating.
saw that tonight.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, being blessed, and I got to be humble. We've actually been studying that. We've been doing the whole things on Proverbs and the
Oh,
stuff. And when this humility comes up, I'm like, I've got to remember to stay. But, maybe this is something too, where I'm not afraid to speak up of faith, but I don't have to push it on people either. When it
no.
comes up and there's a reason for it, to like we were talking about before we came on, that you have to have something to lean on.
Yep.
And if you're not Christian, I hope you have a good friend. Obviously, Jesus is there, and I would say you can always count on that and
Amen.
reach out. But everybody has to have something to lean on, because if they don't,
Sure.
I could not imagine going through what I've been through, without a loving family. And again, me loving my family, even though I was depressed and pointed inward, I knew everything was around me. And I also knew that there's a way out and hope on the way out. I didn't have to wander the desert for 40 years. I just had to be fat for 12. I got a pretty good deal. When you think about it, it's like, hey, a 1-to-4 ratio, I'll take that. And there's some people that might have had to wander this desert of bad health for 40 years.
Yes.
Hey,
32.
everything's in the Bible. Everything's that we go through, there's a story to pull out.
Indeed.
Yes.
From Kip's cream cheese, because I like Kip, to being tempted, to wandering, to everything.
Yeah, sure.
So
Agreed.
yeah, that's a big thing for sure. Thanks. Yeah, this was an awesome evening. I was looking forward to this too. Anyway, just because of everybody and hoping we'd get some people through. So
yeah, it's been great. We've been looking forward to this also. And today I subbed at the locals because I'm a substitute as well. I have a lot of jobs, different jobs. As my lifestyle is missions and people and loving the hurt and the dying and from old to young. And so I was at the local school today doing my subbing, and all day long it was just such a blessed day, and I was so ready and excited for this. So thank you for having us.
No, it's a ton of fun. And it's good to get to know other people that kind of have like, whatever. And it also shows too, like everybody's on this different journey and it doesn't really matter. And I said it the other day, I think it was when I was talking with Karen about like motorcyclists, because I used to do a lot of motorcycle stuff too. And you always see motorcycle guys waving to each other on the road.
Yes.
If you see that. To me, the carnivore is kind of like that. It's kind of like your bikers on the road, and there's that kind of nod thing and this mutual respect. And it doesn't matter if you're keto or ketovore or whatever, because I really take carnivore as a subset of keto. It's just an extreme version of keto.
It is.
And I know that doing the OMAD, OMAD can kick you out of ketosis actually because of that, and there's some, so I could just say, see, I'm just kind of cycling, like you can make up whatever funny excuse you want, but it's all the same thing. It's about cutting out the junk and getting healthy.
Yeah,
and that's what it's about.
Yes.
Yeah. Focus on your health, focus on nutrition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just love yourself enough to care. That's one thing I wanted to point out also, is that this type of lifestyle, it is on purpose. You have to care. And something that I might miss, if I'm being very just blunt and honest, and maybe not everyone feels this way, but that's
be dishonest, please. Can you just be dishonest? No, go ahead. I shouldn't do that to people I don't know that well, but that's a funny one.
Struggling though with not caring anymore. Does that make sense? Did I say that correctly?
I know what you mean by that. It's hard to say that in that way, but
it's hard to say.
Letting go, letting go maybe is what you're thinking, like that not caring is letting go and just.
Yes, I guess
is that.
Because I didn't know how to word it. And I was telling her about it. I said, one of my struggles, it's not necessarily food addiction. It's It's saying, okay, because I go out to lunch with a woman. I care for the elderly as well. I take a woman to lunch when she wants to go. And, used to be could go anywhere, wouldn't care, pick whatever I want,
Yeah.
whatever I fancy that day. But now, I have to think about it and be intentional and on purpose about my choices. So something that I might miss is not caring. Even though I don't want the sad diet again, I don't want to
Yeah.
live that way again. It's something that I have to push through though and realize it's just part of this is part of the process. So if I'm not articulating that properly, forgive, but it is something that I have to think about is caring about my
Yeah.
choices.
And anything
I will
worth
say on this, your future YouTube channel, just make it happen.
Yeah, do it.
That's what you had to do.
Absolutely. So,
And then come let us know. We'll subscribe.
yes.
Yeah.
Subscribe to so
for
many
sure.
people and spreading the love.
Yeah, spread the love.
It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we'll sign off. Thank you everybody for showing up that was in the chat tonight and participating. It was an awesome time.
Thank you.
And obviously awesome meeting 2 new friends and, all that good stuff. So as I always, if you ever hear me say the ahui ho, that means until we meet again in Hawaiian.
Love
I've
it.
said that a few times, but people don't really. So take care, everybody. Hui ho.
Bye.